All right. Welcome to the Daily Money Market. My name is Che Yusuf. It's actually the live coverage that we want to do in terms of the budget speech, in terms of the South Africa budget speech. So right now, I think it's gonna kick off in 2 o'clock Central Africa time. But at a particular time, we're sitting at 13:58. So 2 minutes to that time to kick off in terms of the budget. But let's check it out in terms of the preparation. And I've seen some couple of interesting in terms of budget speech. So 2 minutes into budget speech. Let's do this. So this is Mkondo Wesizwe Party arriving on a parliament. And I can see again, they're even dancing together with Julius Malema there, the opposition party, the caucus of opposition party. I can see the song dances. I can see also Getting Mackenzie, Minister of Sports, actually there. Here is John Steenhuisen. Again, arriving at a budget speech, people are getting preparing. The judiciary, they now preparing to start in terms of the budget speech that will happen today. YouTube in the studio, on YouTube. It is exactly 2 o'clock in South African time at the moment. We are actually, waiting for the Minister of Finance, Minister Enoch Godongwana. I think he's going to be pitching up very soon. So the story of the budget is very, very crazy. What is happening right now is because of last month they were trying to actually, uh, propose the budget to the parliament and they deny. Here is the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, right there walking around. So they denied. I don't know it was because of the opposition party or because of the government of national unity. Some of the members on the government national unity, they declined the budget because of the biggest one. I think the reason biggest one, it was because of the VAT. And a lot of people, they're not actually, up to say that they must increase the VAT, and some they denied to increase the VAT with a 2%. So the VAT is sitting at 15% in South Africa right now. And the proposal was to increase it to 17% with the 2%. And this is going to affect a lot of people because of the VAT goes to each and every product that we actually use. They're going to add the VAT on it, right? So it is going to affect a lot of people when it comes to the VAT. That is why they deny the budget. But some of the analysts, again, they were talking about, no man, if they deny, we don't want to to increase the VAT, how about we find another way to pump it up the money. Some analysts are saying, how about we cut in terms of the spending? We shouldn't spend a lot. So if we talk about cutting in terms of spending, that means they have to cut one of the one of the grant that people in South Africa receive. There's a grant, it's called SRG, I think, SRG grant. That actually support people who are unemployed. So the unemployment in South Africa is very, very high. 60% of that unemployment, it's youth that are sitting at home. So they introduce this basic, income grant that can be able to help people during COVID-19. And the people and the government realized that maybe we should just, roll on with this basic income grant so that maybe it can be able to continue helping people here in South Africa, even after the COVID-19 happened, right? So that's the grant that they were thinking that if it is possible, then they have to cut that grant so that VAT shouldn't be increased. Personally, I think VAT is very, very important, and increasing of VAT, I don't think it's very wise. At least if you can increase the tax, you can, choose a certain sectors where you want to increase the tax and be able to increase the tax, right? But you cannot just be increasing the
Speaker
tax
of the
in,
National
especially
Assembly.
the VAT to everywhere. So we are seeing the Speaker of National Assembly coming up on the podium. So pretty much that's the issue right now in terms of the South African
May
budget.
we now have a moment of silent prayer and meditation.
While these guys they're having a moment of silence and prayer. All right, it's done.
May we be seated.
Thank you.
So this is live streaming in terms of
Order, honorable members.
a budget of 2025, South African budgets of
Order.
25.
Today we have only one item on the agenda, and that will be the introduction of the appropriation bill, introduction of public sector pensions and related payments bill, introduction of ESCOM debt relief, and introduction of revenue laws bill. I will now ask the secretary to read the first order.
Introduction, appropriation bill and tabling of division of revenue bill. Introduction, public sector pension and related payment bill. Introduction, ESCOM debt relief amendment bill. Introduction, revenue laws amendment bill.
Thank you, Honorable the Minister of Finance.
Order, Speaker. On a point of order, Speaker.
Order,
The
Honorable
Minister of
Member. I will ask the
Finance
Minister to take a seat first.
of Republic of
There
South
are two
Africa.
members, Honorable Mautre. There's the
It's
first
going to
member
be a
who
long
raised his
day.
hand
It's
is
going to be a
Honorable
very, very
Manye.
hectic.
I'll recognize you after him.
Prefer that maybe when we, streaming.
Thank
we
you,
cut and
Honorable
come back
Manye. What's
to
the point of
streaming.
order?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, for us as the MK Party, we are asking purely based on the values of Ubuntu that on the 19th of February we're here to listen to the budget speech, which didn't happen. We think that the minister will be within the values and the realm of Ubuntu for him to apologize to this house for making us come here for nothing, and must also apologize to the people of South Africa, which we represent here, that that day did not happen. So we're asking that that apology must happen. And also, Speaker, we also want to ask the minister to take this house into his confidence to say what exactly caused him not to table the budget speech on the 19th. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mautre. Minister, you can take your seat. Minister, you can take your seat. I'll recognize the EFF. Yes,
Thank
Honorable
you,
Member.
Speaker. Speaker, I was looking at the time when you sat on that chair. It was exactly 3 minutes past 2. The House sitting is scheduled to start at 2. So, Speaker, you were late. All of us were here. The honorable thing for you to have done was to apologize for coming late and explain why you actually came late. So please, we request you to apologize for coming late and tell the country why you arrived late in this sitting that you have called yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. We have noted both your requests as well as your comments. I want to remind honorable members that during the sitting on the 19th, which never proceeded to be the sitting, we gave an opportunities for parties to express themselves. Members of the executive were here, the leader of government business were here, and I'm sure the minister in presenting the budget have noted the concerns that have been raised then and have noted the concerns as they have been raised now. And I will leave it to the minister to then deal with the matter. Secondly, Honorable Mautwe indeed, we start at 2. Oh, yes, sir? Okay, can you allow me to assist the minister? Well, let's not do what we usually not do in this house. We have decorum, we respect one another, and we allow the speaker to do what she has to do. Indeed, we're supposed to start at 3. We were waiting.
Can see the president of South Africa,
Okay.
President Ramaphosa is
Wednesdays, we
there.
usually start at 3, but today, because of the presentation of the budget, we started 2. We do apologize because there were a bit of, people here on the aisle, which the Sergeant at Arms was trying to remove. I was here before 2 p.m. But we do apologize that we did not start exactly on the time as you requested. And all of us know that last time we had a not so kind dress rehearsal for a budget which will now be presented, but we are now asking the Minister of Finance.
Honorable Speaker, I'll probably show Khila that I'm going to come back to that issue later. It's taken. Honorable Speaker, Togo Didiza, Deputy Speaker, Anneli Lotrit, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Refulum Mtsweni Tsipane, Deputy Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Les Govender, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, Honorable Deputy President Paul Mashatile, Cabinet colleagues, members of the Executive Council for Finance, honorable members, Governor of the South African Reserve Bank, Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, fellow South Africans.
Again, just to add, after this speech, I think the following week we are waiting for Governor of Reserve Bank of South Africa, Mr. Lesesha Kganyago, to give us in terms of the interest rate. Again, how much is going to grow or how much will be reduced. But
the
again,
2025 appropriation bill, the 2025 ESCOM debt relief amendment bill, the 2025 public sector pension and related payments bill, the 2025 revenue laws amendment bill, the 2025 estimate of national expenditure, the 2025 budget review, and this 2025 budget speech. Just on a lighter note, Madam Speaker, let me first, before going on that lighter note, take the point raised by Honorable Manyi. And indeed, it was an inconvenience for this Parliament and the people of South Africa. And indeed, we owe this Parliament an apology. And we owe the people of South Africa an apology. No doubt about that. We didn't like the postponement. But on a lighter note, I saw on social media something that said this budget is postponed until my favorite club wins. That is Kaizer Chiefs.
crazy.
In cabinet, when I made this point, Dr. Ramkhopa wrote me a piece of note and said, "No, this budget will never be tabled." And Honorable Gigawa said, "Hey, these people are putting the country in crisis because this budget will never be tabled." Now, let me go back to the postponement, as I've apologized. Go back to the postponing and say the postponement of the tabling of the budget 3 weeks ago was a regrettable,
That's a
but
minister of
perhaps
electricity.
an understandable feature of multi-party governance. It is also a sign of some of the difficulties associated with a multi-party democracy. But what is positive is that the delay has stimulated an unprecedented level of public debate about the difficult policy trade-offs we as a nation face. A vital debate about which policies to fund and how to fund them, about which priorities to pursue now and which ones we may need to delay in the context of unlimited resources. As much as the debate has been dominated by the proposed increase to value-added tax, the benefit of all South Africans. A bigger, faster-growing economy and the larger fiscal resources that comes with it would give us more fiscal room to meet more of our developmental goals. But the truth is that our economy has stagnated for over a decade. In that time, GDP growth has averaged less than 2%, far below the level required to meet our expanding list of needs. In 2024, the economy grew by only 0.6%. Over the medium term, GDP growth is projected to average 1.8%. To meet our goals of redistribution, redress, and structural transformation, the economy needs to grow much faster and in an inclusive manner. This is the central objective of the current administration. Today's budget proposes a bold and pragmatic approach to achieve this formidable task. It calls for macroeconomic stability, supported by sound fiscal policy, for the deepening of structural reforms to remove the obstacles to growth and job creation, and for scaling up infrastructure to unlock the productive capacity of the economy while building a capable state that supports all these efforts. The budget remains committed to a balanced fiscal strategy. As projected in the 2024 medium-term budget policy statement, a budget primary surplus of 0.5% of GDP will be achieved in the 2025, and this will grow to 0.9% in 25-26. Government debt will stabilize at 76.2% of GDP in 25-26, while the consolidated budget deficit also narrows to 3.5% by 27-28. Madam Speaker, as debt stabilizes, a growing surplus will enable the government to reduce debt service cost as a proportion of revenue. Some of these savings will be used to build up fiscal buffers that we need as protection against future shocks.
All right. So in terms of the budget, it's a speech, but right now I think the most important that we should do is to actually check it out again, the market. Remember, we check it out the rand to a ZAR, how much a rand to a dollar. I mean, a rand to a dollar, not a rand to a ZAR. How much actually it's playing around. I did predict that maybe it will go all the way to 18 rand 60 cents, 18 rand 60 cents. But again, let's check it out. How the rand is coming and how it's performing while the president of, the minister of finance is actually tabling the budget. So here it is, rand to a dollar. So sitting at 18 rand 34 cents at the moment, 18 rand 34 cents. But these are my predictions, right? If the budget speech is not going to show any type of positivity, I'm predicting that it will go to 1850 all the way to 1860, 1870. But again, if I go to a very smaller time frame, I can still see that a little bit of retrace after he starts speaking. But hey, man, the volatility that is playing around here, it's crazy. It's really, 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 crazy. But my prediction still remain the same, that if the budget table is not going to be really positive or is not going to solve in terms of the VAT that we talk about, it's going to be a challenge. But again, let's continue speech. Right.
Improvements are important milestones on our path to fostering a stable macroeconomic environment. That is a prerequisite for a higher level of growth and that promotes job creation, improve public services, and reduce inequalities. Our strategy to achieve faster growth remains anchored in the following 4 pillars: maintaining macroeconomic stability, implementing structural reforms, improving state capacity, and accelerating infrastructure investment. Maintaining macroeconomic stability, inclusive of prudent fiscal policy, promotes stable prices, lowers interest rates, and enhances the country's resilience to external shocks. This creates a conducive environment for investment. Implementing structural reforms removes impediments to growth and creates a solid foundation for a higher and sustained economic growth. Madam Speaker, it was out of this realization that economic growth and fiscal stability are mutually reinforcing that Operation Vulindlela was formed as a joint venture between Treasury and the Presidents to fast-track the implementation of the structural reforms. Its objective were to stabilize the supply of electricity, create a competitive and efficient freight logistics system, reduce the cost and improve the quality of digital communication, ensure a stable quality supply of water, reform the visa regime to facilitate skilled immigration and support tourism. Since its establishment in 2020, Operation Vulindlela has made real progress in achieving these objectives. For example, the energy reforms have created 22,500 megawatts pipelines of projects. More than 10,000 megawatts are formally registered with NASA, which is of the last step in the regulatory process. These projects will contribute to reducing power cuts. The freight logistic roadmap was approved. The roadmap allows private sector participation and gives third-party access to any operator without discrimination in accordance with the network statement. The cost of 1.5 gigabyte data bundle has declined by 51%, allowing individuals and small businesses to access more affordable data. The water use license backlog has been cleared, unlocking billions in investment and freeing projects that had stalled because of the backlog. The water quality regulatory system was reinstated for the first time since 2014. This is the green drop, blue drop, and no drop certification that enables effective intervention in supporting failing municipalities to provide clean water to citizens. E-visas for travelers from 34 countries have been introduced to significantly boost tourism. The Trusted Employer Scheme has been established to fast-track visa process for major investors. These achievements have eased economic bottlenecks and built on the successes. So phase 2 of OV will focus on the following: through existing reforms in energy, water, logistic, and visa system, strengthen local government and improve the delivery of basic services, harnessing digital public infrastructure as a driver of growth and inclusion, and creating sufficient productive and inclusive cities. Madam Speaker, infrastructure is a key pillar of our growth strategy. It is the bedrock for economic development, a key source of jobs, and an avenue for scaling up service delivery. This budget reflects that understanding. Allocation towards capital payments are the fastest growing area of spending by economic classification. Public infrastructure spending over the next 3 years will amount to more than 1 trillion rand. The spending will focus on three sectors: 402 billion rand for transport and logistics, 219 billion for energy infrastructure, 150 billion rand for water and sanitation. In transport, the South African National Roads Agency will spend 100 billion rand over the medium term to keep the national road network in good condition. Provincial roads departments will reseal over 16,000 lane kilometers of roads in their areas of authority. Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa is making steady progress to rebuild the infrastructure to provide an additional 19.2 billion over the medium term for critical signaling. This will enable
It's the billions.
commuters from
Talking
areas such
billions.
as Mamelodi,
Billions.
Kwamashu,
Wow.
Motherwell, Khayelitsha, Naledi, to name but a few, to catch a train every 10 minutes. To get to and from work, and significantly reduce the money that lower income households spend on transport. Let me pause and show an example. Let me pause. The World Bank has produced a report. People tend to be selective when they read that report. They don't read what they don't like. What that report says is that rand for rand, if you had to compare a worker from South Korea and a worker from South Africa, rand for rand, the South African worker gets lesser disposable income than the South Korean. The explanation is cost of transport. In South Africa, that cost of transport is affected by two things: the spatial dimension, and secondly, the cost of transport. And this investment critical deals with that challenge for poor communities in our areas. I don't know, when somebody said it's not, this budget not poor, what do you mean? This allocation will also allow PRASA to maximum the potential of the 241 new trains delivered through the rolling stock renewal program. Despite this, the progress made, PRASA procurement system needs strengthening. The management of the unit of the entity has already instituted measures to strengthen their procurement weaknesses. This includes getting support from the National Treasury to build capacity and mitigate risks, and undertaking live audits for larger procurement projects. In the water sector, we're investing in several large-scale dam projects that are ramping up or entering construction. The Mkomazi project is expected to commence construction in November 2027, transferring water into the Mngeni water supply system. This will increase the total capacity of the system to 5 million households in eThekwini and 4 district municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal. The Back Bill augmentation scheme is expected to start in July 2026. The project will improve the Western Cape's water supply system, improving regional water security while reliably supplying domestic, agricultural, and industrial water users. To further accelerate infrastructure delivery and effectiveness, we are continuing reforms to facilitate greater private sector participation, capital budget reform, and alternative infrastructure financing. The new regulations for public-private partnerships have been finalized and will take effect on the 1st of June 2025. The regulation reduces procedural complexity of undertaking PPPs, create capacity to support and manage PPPs, create clear rules for managing unsolicited bids, and strengthen fiscal risk governance. The regulation also makes provision for national department to establish sector-specific PPP units. These units will drive private sector participation, creating opportunity to optimize the balance sheets of financial distressed state-owned companies. The Department of Transport
All
and
right.
Transnet will engage
Uh,
the market
I
on
think we have streamed for over 30 minutes in terms of the South Africa budget speech. We're going to pause it at the moment and we're going to come back on the stream. Right now, what we want to do, we want to jump in to check it out. The United States Consumer Price Index data that is coming in 2 minutes. United States consumer price data is coming in 2 minutes, which is they call it the CPI, Consumer Price Index. So we're gonna check it out, the Consumer Price Index, the results, what happened, and the numbers, and then we can come back and listen to the Minister of Finance, Enoch Gorongwane. But the big one, I think, is the couple of billions that are pumping up for transport. One of the highlights that he highlighted in terms of spaces like Naledi, Kayalicha, that the trains are supposed to be there in 10 minutes. That's supposed to push a rand to a dollar to a little bit of positivity. But for now, let's leave it at the moment. Thank you a lot. We'll come back and stream and continue with the stream.